So right now, CPAC is going on, and it's full of your typical amount of crazy. Though, of course, this time one of the themes of that crazy is attacking AOC. AOC happens to be a big target of attacks during this conference, and not only that, but they're also using the Green New Deal. So, since the proposal was revealed that would boost the share of American power generated from alternative energy sources as close to as 100% as possible over the next decade, which is a very ambitious plan, but something that we need to do to head off some of the worst of climate change, conservatives have attacked it as a way to take away everything you own. Now, I'm not kidding. They're actually saying this is the liberal plot to take away your stuff. Well, there's no evidence of that, but we'll go on to hear exactly what he thinks in this next video.
Alexander Ocasio-Cortez has introduced the Green New Deal, which is, remember this one, use it, it's a watermelon. Green on the outside, deep red communist on the inside. They want to take your pickup truck. They want to rebuild your home. They want to take away your hamburgers. This is what Stalin dreamt about but never achieved. You are on the front lines of the war against communism coming back to America under the guise of democratic socialism, which is just a PC term for communism.
Wow, man. Did I just go back to 1980? I swear that's what you would expect from all the politicians back during the Red Scare. Again, oh, it's a watermelon, green on the outside, but deep communist red in the inside. Well, then what are the seeds? You know what? I'm curious now. What would they call the seeds? Seeds of communism? I don't know. Anyway. That's nonsensical, but anyway, it's a weird question for me to ask. But anyway, let's get to the substance here, if there is any. They want to take away your pickup truck. They want to rebuild your home. They want to take away your hamburgers. They want to take away your pickup. Do they? Really? There's nothing in that proposal which says we're going to ban your truck. We're going to take away your hamburgers. What? All in the name of democratic socialism, which is actually just no different than communism. Actually, no, if you... I'm sure you probably already knows this. But all you have to do is kind of open up a dictionary or do some sort of cursory search between the two terms, and you would realize that they're completely 100% different. Democratic socialism actually exists inside of a capitalist structure. I don't know if you know that. Communism completely changes that structure away from capitalism. But again, you would have to know that. You would actually have to be intellectually curious enough to find that out and actually know that. And look, social democracy also exists inside of capitalist structure. And so I'm more of a social democrat. So I believe in things like, Medicare for all and free college and a living wage. All that exists inside of a capitalist structure. Look at, for example, Denmark, Norway, Finland, and all those other Nordic countries. That is the Nordic style of mixed market systems is, I think, excellent. It's a model for the rest of the world, right? Now, it's not socialism, but it's capitalism with heavily socialistic elements inside of it. And these elements actually increase the health, well-being, happiness, and education level of their citizenry. And if it works there, and they do it cheaper, by the way, they do healthcare cheaper, then we could definitely do it here. But no, according to Seb Gorka, that's communism. The guy knows nothing. He knows absolutely nothing. His ignorance would be stunning if I didn't already know that he is just using this to his advantage in order to keep his taxes low. That's what this is about. Now, what's also funny, let's get to the hamburgers, because that's the fun part, right? Oh, they want to take your hamburgers. You know, you realize, and he made this, Stalin really wanted to do this, right? Stalin wanted to take your hamburgers. Actually, to be honest, Stalin had launched the mass production of meat patties in Russia. He actually, he sent somebody to America and was like, America had a good idea. Make more meat patty. So I'm going to make meat patties mass produced. So those meat patties, your hamburgers, are communist hamburgers. You're eating commune burgers, or commune burgers, or communist burgers. Oh, you know what? That's why they're hamburgers. They're different than hamburgers, which are communists, a communist plot by Stalin, but hamburgers are American. See? There we go. Okay. Now, as far as the other claim, of course, rebuilding your home. No, part of the Green New Deal is trying to modernize old buildings to be more energy efficient. Now, energy efficiency means saving money in the long run by saving energy. Oh, well, who would be against saving money? I mean, yes, it takes an investment of taxpayer money, obviously, to make these older buildings more energy efficient. But at the same time, on the long run, taxpayers save more money when they're using less energy. Well, that's good, right? Who would be against that? People like Seb Gorka, who want to pay more to own the libs. That's what that's about. So, look, as far as, let's go back to the trucks point again. Now, the reason that they come to this conclusion that they're going to take the cars and the trucks or whatever is, again, we're trying to make electric cars, right? Well, electric cars obviously run cleaner, and they actually run a lot cleaner if they're hooked up to a grid that is 100% renewable energy, right? And so, yes, making those available, doing electric cars, but also making public transportation, right? Now, public transportation is not something that is really caught on in America, but it's caught in a lot of other places, right? That's why other countries' public transportation systems are way, way better than ours. Ours are old, ours are slow, inefficient, and that's why, of course, a lot of Americans use their own passenger vehicles, which adds a lot of carbon to the atmosphere. I realize that, right? So now, the whole plan of the Green New Deal is to say, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have things like high-speed rail. For example, we're going to build high-speed rail. That's going to get you to places that you want to go faster than doing it in a car and doing it in a cleaner way. So if you want to go cross-country, for example, you don't have to get onto an airplane. Yes, airplanes will still exist. They're not actually eliminating airplanes. They're saying, here's an option if you want to get there faster than a jet, and it's high-speed rail. So conservatives, of course, look at that as saying, you're getting rid of my planes, you're getting rid of my cars. That's not true. We're actually wanting to make a system that is more efficient, faster, that will make people want to choose those public transportation systems better. And look, who doesn't want to save time and money? Well, people like Sebastian Gorka, who again want to waste time, waste money in order to own the libs. And that's what this comes down to. Now, AOC, of course, saw this. She fought back, and she said, quote, "We're not going to force anybody to go vegan or anything crazy like that, but we got to address factory farming." And I think that's really smart, because one of the big problems with factory farming, other than, of course, the cruelty part, which a lot of Republicans don't actually care about, like, oh, no, go ahead and be cruel as you want. But one of the bigger health issues is the conditions, right? So, I mean, look, if you've seen videos where they've done factory farming or these factory farms, you'll see that the animals are in incredibly cramped, dirty conditions. Disease is rampant, and they have, filled these animals with antibiotics. In fact, most antibiotic use goes to these animals, which is a big problem because antibiotic resistance is on the rise. So if you do something about factory farming and you eliminate that, then you not only reduce the usage of antibiotics and therefore actually prevent some of this antibiotic resistance, right? And also make the food safer that we eat and cleaner, then that's ultimately better for everybody, except for, I guess, the people that are making tons and tons of money on running these horrible factory farms, right? So that's one thing, right? Now, she also adds in, quote, maybe we shouldn't be eating a hamburger for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, you stay away from my hamburgers, AOC. No, I'm kidding, of course. Generally they tell you not to eat as much red meat. And so that's generally a health thing, but that's not the government forcing you not to eat red meat. So now, of course, social media, and I love sharing social media because it's a lot of fun. They decided to jump in here and go after Sebastian Gorka's speech. And we'll start with Maria Chung, right? Seb Gorka is the William Wallace of hamburgers. You will not take our hamburgers. You will not take our trucks. And you will not take our freedom. Anyway, Parker Malloy says, I put Gorka's CPAC rant about Democrats' non-existent plan to steal your hamburgers over an old McDonald's hamburger commercial. You're welcome. That's fun. Tom Gara says, Gorka is confusing Stalin with the Hamburglar. Aaron Rupar says, former Trump White House official Sebastian Gorka, they want to take away your hamburgers. This is what Stalin dreamt about, but never achieved. But in reality, as I mentioned before, Stalin actually mass-produced hamburgers. Oops. Okay. Then, Malcolm Nance says, Gorka's greatest fear, missing lunch. Hashtag Meal Team 6. That's great. And then one more here, and this is probably the best. It's my favorite. Ryan Brennan says, any ideas if hamburgers will remain available? This is why I love social media, man. These Republicans, these are crazy, crazy people. I mean, again, if you want to have legitimate criticisms of the Green New Deal, saying maybe how can we implement such a wide sweeping piece of legislation, and how will we be able to look? I know you guys are probably going to get mad at me for asking, well, how are we going to pay for it? Well, we know how we're going to pay for it. But if you're concerned about the economics of the issue, I guess that's a sort of legitimate question, more legitimate than screaming, they're going to take our burgers. So, obviously, these Republicans, they look at the polls, which, by the way, have a majority of the American people, 80% of people in support of a Green New Deal. They look at that and they're scared. Why? Because in the end, it means that rich people are probably going to have to pay a little bit more in taxes. And so that's something that they cannot stand. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know how I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.